Good evening, everyone. I'll call this city council meeting to order. May I have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Elliott.
Here.
Councilmember Garcia. Councilmember Fitzhenry.
Here.
Councilmember Sandal.
Here.
Mayor Gotel.
Here. This evening, we have someone for the open forum, Claire Plank Gaylor. And if you would step up to the microphone and state your name and address, and please sign in before you take off.
Can I?
Sure.
Is it something they need on the overhead?
You want it over in the overhead?
Oh, I'll grab one.
Pass those on.
Pass it. Give me two and we'll give her one back.
Okay, there we go.
Does she got one? She does. Okay. In case they're very shy.
Hi, everyone. My name is Claire Gaylor, and I am here kind of on behalf and with Crosstown Creativity. And we are a new arts group based out of Richfield, but serving the surrounding community. And so tonight, this is just a formal, informal invite to join us. We're going to be having open studio and various activities at the Wednesday Farmers Market over at Lyndale Gardens. So our kind of temporary art house, different from the art center, is based in that gray building across the parking lot from the old Lyndale Gardens, so that really creepy kind of looking building, which we are working on and making a lot less creepy at the moment. But we've been running for about 6 months now, been doing lots of different fun events, programs, activities, and we kind of have quite a bit more kicking off this summer, mainly during the Wednesday Farmers Market. So the art house is open 1 to 7 every Wednesday. On the sheet I passed out, and I guess what you guys can see up there is kind of some information about us, where you can find additional information if you have questions or if there's any way you want to get involved. So this is just a invite to the Wednesday open houses, and kind of just to get the word out there that we're starting up and this is going on.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, no
Appreciate
problem.
that.
Can I ask a question, Your Honor?
Please.
Yeah, well, do you know what time the farmers, is that the same hours as the farmers market will be?
I believe the farmers market is 2 to 7 or 3 to 7, but we've been doing open studios from 1 to 4, so that'll still be going on. And then we're also doing like a community art garden, nothing to do with dirt and flowers, but we're creating kind of a large scale, think billboard size garden that we need participation in from the community. So everybody's going to get kind of their own square that they can create. And so that'll be happening during the farmers market. And it's in the same parking lot. So if you're going to go get actual flowers or actual, foods and plants and whatnot, you can just stop in and say hi.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
Good question.
Thanks. Thanks. Would everyone please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I would ask the council to approve the minutes of the special city council meeting of April 23rd, 2013, the special city council work session of April 23rd, 2013, the regular city council meeting of April 23rd, 2013, and the special city council HRA Housing Visioning Task Force meeting of May 17th, 2013.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Tonight we have several great presentations. We will start first with a presentation by Hennepin County Commissioner, District 5, Randy Johnson. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor and members of the council. I was meeting with the mayor not too long ago, and we talked about how I think it's been 5 years since I've been able to attend the meeting that you have near the beginning of every legislative session with the legislators and with the other local officials, it always seems to get scheduled on the same night that we have scheduled our evening hearings for our appointments for the year. And we start at 5 and we're seldom done before 9:30 or 10. And I know that your meetings don't last that long. So the mayor suggested that maybe I could just come and especially talk about our legislative priorities. I was thinking on my way over here that maybe we should have timed it to either be later or earlier, because in about 10 days I could tell you what happened and how it affected all of us. Because as we all know, nothing seems to happen in the legislature till the last 2 weeks anyway. Hennepin County is far and away the largest county in Minnesota by population, nearly a quarter of the entire population of the state, and close to half of all of the economic activity. So we are the economic engine. And we also have the highest number by far of people in need, the highest caseloads proportionately to our population of any county. And under our system of government here in Minnesota, the counties have primary responsibility for health and human service delivery, although some cities like Richfield also have public health departments. Nearly half of our entire budget is spent on health and human services. I'm going to talk a little bit about our legislative priorities. I handed out our summary. It appears that most of our priorities relate to one thing, and that's money. And it appears that way because it's true. We have learned that not to go to the legislature and look for huge piles of new money for anything, because there are no huge piles of new money for anything. But we do consistently argue and point out why funding should not be cut, especially for mandated programs. And caseloads don't go down just because the state money available for people in need goes down. Again, I can tell you in about 10 days how we will do on the funding and how we will do on the bonding. There is one area that doesn't directly involve money from the state, and it's actually magic. And that's the act that we have been pushing for several years, the Minnesota Accountable Government Innovation and Collaboration Act, MAGIC. And what we're asking for, all 87 counties, is more authority to innovate, to do pilot projects, to be relieved at least temporarily of state mandates, and see if we can find better ways of doing things and working collaboratively. For example, Hennepin County is about to do the medical examiner, the coroner's work for Dakota County. We do have the capacity to do that. Because it is such a equipment expensive and intensive area, we decided that that would make more sense, as did Dakota County, but we've had to negotiate a long time and a long agreement in order to come in compliance with all the state laws. So we're just asking for the authority to do more things with both other counties, especially in the metro area, but also with all of the cities in the metro area. One of the big areas that we have is funding for the Hennepin County Medical Center. People often ask me why I am such a strong proponent of HCMC. My district is Bloomington, Richfield, and most of Eden Prairie. And people say, well, look at your district. How many people do you have who really use HCMC, the old general hospital, for their primary care? I say, well, first of all, you would be surprised. Second, we do have the clinic at the hub. And third, I think everybody in the community appreciates the great importance of the emergency room and the emergency department at HCMC. If you or anyone in your family, God forbid, has trauma and you're equidistant from emergency rooms, people who know medicine choose HCMC. And that's very important. But there's one other matter that people are often unaware of. We're a teaching hospital. We're considered one of the premier public teaching hospitals in the entire country. We are fortunate that I do not yet understand the black box whereby medical student graduates select which places, hospitals usually, they want to do their residencies, and we choose which graduates we want. But we are able to get the very top graduates from the very top medical schools in the entire country. And I'm fortunate many years to be able to talk to them when they come for the new residence dinner in the fall. And they come from all over the country. And I do tell them that, you know, you may be thinking you're only here for 2 or 3 or 4 years, whatever your residency is, and then you're going to go back to California or Florida, the East or West Coast. And let me tell you that you will be staying here in Minnesota if you can make it through that second winter. More than half of all the doctors who practice in Minnesota did some or all of their advanced training at HCMC. They come here and they tend to stay here, and that is certainly true of primary care physicians. So I think HCMC and HCMC funding is very, very important. Governor Dayton signed the Medicaid expansion bill that Governor Pawlenty was reluctant to do. For example, that meant for HCMC alone $42 million a year for our indigent and in-need caseload. I'm not quite sure what we would have done at HCMC if we'd been facing cuts of that degree on top of the other reductions that we've had. We've had a great relationship with Richfield for many, many years. Your legislative priorities and platform is very consistent with ours, other than in the area of fiscal disparities, and I think that that's just always going to be an area where we cordially agree to disagree. And I fully understand Richfield's position as a winner, and I think you understand Hennepin County's position, where most of our cities and the county are major donors. So we will continue our efforts to change that formula, and I would anticipate we will have as little success as we've had for the last 30 years. So if anybody has any questions, either about the legislative program or what we're doing, I was here about a month ago for the League of Women Voters session on organized collection, and I was absolutely amazed that we had a full house. People would come out on a Saturday morning to talk and listen to people talk about garbage. And I did stress at that point that this is 100% a city municipal decision, and the county is there to support whatever each of the 47 cities in Hennepin County want to do.
Well, I would like to ask on that matter, because we were talking just before the meeting started about the Hennepin County's initiative for organics. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Well, we are trying to ramp up our support for recycling and organic composting programs. We don't know how much compost is done by people at home. I know the mayor composts at home. I've got a compost pile, but there's really no way of measuring that throughout the county. But we are supporting pilot efforts to do organics collection along with the regular collection of garbage in a separate bin. We're doing it in St. Louis Park. It's important that the haulers want to do this and cooperate. It is not a less expensive option because you are adding more handling and more costs. But our goal is to continue to drive down the percentage of the waste that goes to landfills or to the Hennepin Energy Resources plant downtown. And I think we'll have some pretty good numbers in another year or two, and we'll be learning a lot. If Richfield is interested with whatever you decide to do about organized collection, I think we'll be very interested in sitting down with the council and the staff to support that.
Well,
I'm pretty optimistic about it.
And just a follow-up question. So when you do the organics, there's probably some place that's doing this. Where these organics, do residents have the right to go back and take some of those organics for their gardens, or is that going into a special project, or where are the organics gonna?
That's part of the economics. you try to do the composting so that it has value and people actually pay something, as they do at the garden stores. If you can take it free, you're taking out that profit component, and you start paying for it at the other end as the additional fee to have it collected. And that's what we're studying. It's difficult to take the economics from other parts of the country and apply them here because we have yard waste throughout the summer, but it's really only about 5 months out of the year that we have large volumes of yard waste. Food waste is fairly consistent throughout the year, but it varies greatly household by household. Households that do a lot of their own cooking and don't buy a lot of TV dinners end up having far more that's compostable because you've got the orange peels and whatever you're doing as you're processing. So we're learning a lot about that too.
Councilmember?
I just wanted to thank you and the county for working with Richfield on our various common road projects in Richfield. We have so many county roads. We have Nicollet and Portland and 66th Street, and appreciate that your staff at the county has been willing to work with our public works staff to see that we can end up with a improvement in all of those roads that all of us will really appreciate. So I thank you for that.
Well, I know I speak for Deborah Brisk, who's our Public Works Director, and Jim Grube, our county engineer, who worked with Mike Eastling and the staff out here on various road projects. In fact, we had a meeting out here just about 2 weeks ago with the Public Works staff to look at some future possibilities to move traffic safely and at reasonable expense through Richfield. And you're absolutely right. Most of the major roads here are county roads and have been so historically.
And if I can follow up, and just also thank you for the fact that Richfield, I think, had the first 2-lane roundabout in Hennepin County. Thank you very much. And it's working well.
Well, thank you. I'm very glad to hear that because I hear from the people who don't like it. And
too.
you know, I took a lot of phone calls from people who did not like the roundabout, the first roundabout, and I think people are getting used to it. I've not had anybody tell me for about 2 years that they drive around the intersection of 66th and Portland in order to avoid the roundabout. It's a learning experience.
Council?
I just wanted to thank you too. I wanted 2 things. I wanted to thank you because you are very responsive to citizens from Richfield and our city staff. And one of the things that I've always appreciated about the way that you conduct business is that we don't know, you don't do it on a partisan basis. You do it on the basis of what needs to be done, and you work well with us, and that's something that is it's unusual in a public servant, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
And then the other thing I wanted to bring up was the fact that Hennepin County has got a Citizens Academy, and and as well as my husband have participated on that, and I can't recommend it enough. I mean, you go to the sheriff, county attorney, the medical examiner is there, HCMC, transportation, snow removal. I mean, and the medical examiner was a lot of fun. But you actually go to all of these sites.
A lot of fun?
Yes, well, it was because, I mean, there's a lot of things you normally, hate to ask, but you need to. But we went to all of these sites, and what I liked about it, too, was that the department heads were the ones that told us about their department. And that, I think, was, I know Commissioner Kelson brought that forth, and that was just been so helpful and such a great idea.
Well, thank you. The Citizens Academy, we started about 3 years ago, and it's been very popular. It's a great learning experience. I wish when I had run for county commissioner the first time we'd had a Citizens Academy then. It would have been a lot easier than trying to arrange to go out to all those places and meet with the department heads on my own. I also appreciate your comments about beyond partisanship. As you know, this is a nonpartisan office, and I have insisted that it continue to be a nonpartisan office.
Well, I know I've worked with you for I don't know how many years now, so
Well,
I've
in
appreciated that.
various places, and
Yes.
it's been a really good working relationship. And, I think the county's relationship with Richfield, my relationship with the mayors over the years and the council members has been, and the staff has just been overwhelmingly positive. That doesn't mean we're always going to agree, and I do not have enough money to allocate for all the road projects that the city brings to me, but we try to work it out and set the priorities together and try to do it in a organized fashion over time.
That never
Thank
stops
you.
us from asking, right?
You've taught me that, Mayor.
Thank you for coming. We
Thank
really
you very
appreciate
much.
it. Thank you. Our next presentation is certificates of appreciation to the Miss Richfield Ambassador candidates, and I'm sure there's somebody who can join me up at the podium.
Sure. These are our 6 candidates for the Richfield Ambassador Program. And the Richfield Ambassadors travel around the state of Minnesota, visiting other communities, promoting Richfield and our 4th of July celebration. So these 6 girls are up for that title, and 3 will be chosen on July 5th this year.
This is a great program, too. This is not a beauty pageant. This is a real ambassador program, and I want to thank the people who had the insight to make this such a great program, because these young ladies are going to be out and around in the community until the 4th of July, and you'll see them all out there volunteering, learning about their community, learning about business, learning about so many things. So thank you for that. I'm going to read just what the certificate says, and then I'll come and pass these out to you. The certificate says, "An appreciation of your participation in the City of Richfield's 34th Annual 4th of July activities as a 2013-2014 Richfield Ambassador candidate, the City of Richfield Council hereby extends their sincere gratitude and congratulations presented at the City of Richfield, Minnesota, this 14th day of May 2013, and signed by Debbie Gotel, the mayor."
Hello, my name is Brandy Har. I'm a junior at Richfield High School. I've previously participated in many activities, but currently I am part of the varsity softball team. I am a band member, and I participate in both fall and spring theater, and hopefully our summer season this summer. I don't know where I'm going to go to college yet. I'm still just a junior, but I hope to major in something science related. It's really interesting. I'm proudly sponsored by Richfield Orthodontic Associates, but I do not have my braces from them, coincidentally. And they put a smile on everybody's face. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Desiree White. I am currently a junior at Richfield High School. I've been playing soccer since I was 8 years old, and I'm glad to be one of the captains of our team this upcoming season. I hope to attend the University of Minnesota and get a degree in biology. In my free time, I enjoy photography and hanging out with my friends. I'm proudly sponsored by Pizza Luce, where all of our ingredients are made fresh daily.
Hi, my name is Cherish Kovac. I'm a junior from Richfield, attending Normandale Community College through the post-secondary enrollment option. I don't know where I want to continue at college when I graduate yet, but I do know I want to major in international business, and I hope to study abroad a lot. In the fall, I run cross country, and in the winter, I Nordic ski. I also enjoy a variety of dancing, including ballet, modern, and character. I'm proud to be sponsored by Richfield Bloomington Credit Union, your neighborly credit union.
Hi, my name is Sarah Ketcher. I am currently a senior at the Academy of Holy Angels. This fall, I will be attending the College of St. Benedict. My major is currently undecided, but I am thinking a major in nursing with a minor in psychology. I love my job as a dietary aide at the Minnesota Masonic Home. Throughout high school, I participated in a variety of activities, including theater, choir, National Honor Society, and speech team, where I have been the captain for 2 years. This year, I am ecstatic to be empowered by my sponsor, XL Energy.
Hello, my name is Topeka Pockrell, daughter of Sarada and Babu Pockrell. I'm a junior at Richfield Senior High. My hobbies include tennis, photography, and fashion design. In the fall, I play tennis for the Richfield Senior High girls tennis team. I love designing dresses, and I love taking pictures of nature. Even though I have yet to decide, I would like to major in computer science and minor in psychology. And I'm proud to be sponsored by Bremer Bank. Back to the community. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm currently a senior at Richfield High School right now. I mostly spend my whole life working at Caribou Coffee, so I know a lot about coffee. In the fall, I plan on attending Normandale Community College. I'm going to be majoring in criminal justice and minoring in law enforcement, and I am proudly sponsored by Cornerstone.
So when you see all these lovely ladies out at some of our events and everything, they'll have their sashes on. So go up and say hello to them and wish them well as they come through their journey. And thank you for serving the city of Richfield. Thank you, ladies. That's such a neat program. Councilmember Elliott.
Thank you, Mayor. Is the presentation and introduction of the two newest inductees into the Richfield Chamber of Commerce Small Business Hall of Fame. Angie, if you could come up and introduce yourself and introduce the newest residents of the Small Business Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Did he? See? Well,
well, hello everybody. Thank you for inviting us here tonight. My name is Angie Schaefbauer and I'm president of the Richfield Chamber of Commerce. I am very pleased to introduce to you tonight our two newest inductees into our Small Business Hall of Fame. They were recognized at an event in April, and they are, Ann Schultz with Linden Hills Florist. Do you want them to come up? Or?
Yeah, so they can see them on screen. Please have them come up.
And Marion Downer with Phinacopia.
Angie, if you like, I can help you out a little bit. I've got a printed form here that might make it work for both of us, okay?
That'd be great.
Okay, this is Richfield's Salute to Small Business Inductees of 2013. The Richfield Chamber of Commerce inducts one or two chamber businesses into the Small Business Hall of Fame each year. The induction is related to Small Business Week sponsored by the U.S. Small Business Association and features coast-to-coast events. This will be the 50th anniversary of the event, which the government organization uses as a chance to highlight the impact small businesses have on the United States. The two businesses this year were presented with the award at the annual Salute to Small Business Luncheon on April 24th. More than half of all Americans work for or own a small business in the U.S. according to the SBA. As a result, small businesses are responsible for about 2 in every 3 new jobs created in the U.S. on an annual basis. As Angie indicated, the new inductees are Linden Hills Floral, with Ann Schultz as the owner, and Vinacopia Wine and Spirits, Marion Downer as the general sales manager. First of all, I'd like to say, as a small business owner myself, I recognize the effort and everything that goes into that, and I'm just really happy to have you here this evening because small business are the lifeblood of every community, and you obviously represent what's best about Richfield. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Pat, you have the next one?
Oh, this is a presentation regarding Natural Public Works Week. Kristen, you get the honors.
I do. Thank you, Mayor and council members. I'm going to try to do this. Okay, so next Sunday is the start of National Public Works Week. And across the U.S. and Canada, we like to celebrate our public works guys and everybody that's working on the city and doing all the essential services that go kind of unnoticed throughout the year, hopefully. And so what we do is we were managing, building, and maintaining and operating all of the sewer, the water, the streets, and all the good stuff that people enjoy. So in Richfield Public Works Department, we have 50 employees who are proudly serving your community, and they work hard every day to increase your quality of life and just deliver their services. And they're proud of what they do, as they should be, because they do really good work. We had some help with Lucas Johnson, the media coordinator here at the city, and we pulled together another video. So we have like a 2 and well, it's almost just under 3-minute video to help us celebrate and kind of energize the city. We'll put it on the cable show. So I just have to figure out how to get to it. And there it is. So I'm just going to say that these are not paid actors. And
Let's just add a time so we know.
so there's our Public Works Department guys and some relatives. Thank you.
Hello, and welcome to Public Works Week. This year's theme is Because of Public Works. Our first story starts with Sierra in the field.
This is Sierra reporting from the baseball field where some kids showed up disappointed. We can't play baseball here, this is a mess.
No need to worry, I'll fix that field in a hurry.
Thanks to Super Nick, no one left disappointed. Safe and fun fields.
That's amazing. Are there really Public Works superheroes?
Montana, this is just the start of the day. The children we followed ran into another incident where a superhero was needed.
Oh no, ducks!
Some ducks had fallen into the drain.
No need to fret, I have a net.
Another disaster avoided thanks to Super Garrett.
Animal rescue!
Thank goodness those poor ducks are okay. We were told you also came upon a diseased tree.
That's right, Montana. That superhero already had it under control.
No need to frown, I'll cut that tree down.
Disease removal!
3 superheroes in one day. I can't believe it.
Oh, this just in. A 4th superhero has appeared.
Hey, this isn't working.
Before you go, let me give you some high quality H2O.
Thanks to Super Straw, we have safe drinking water.
Safe drinking water!
Thank you, Sierra, for the report.
You betcha.
Because of Public Works, there are everyday heroes taking care of your city. Thanks for joining us, and see you next year.
That's wonderful. You know, it's kind of nice to see that behind the scenes kind of stuff, because we always hear about the great snow plowing that Public Works always does, but we never hear about a lot of the other things that the Public Works do. Yeah, that aren't probably so visible.
I think they need credits on there for all of the actors and
Yeah, they should be.
the
right.
interviewers.
Mhm.
And probably our city manager, Devich, will take credit for hiring the superheroes.
We have council discussion next. And one of the things that's on here for us to discuss is 4th of July parade participation. I know I plan on being here for the 4th of July, and I know we've marched in the parade, and we usually get the Girl Scouts or someone to volunteer to hold our banner for us. Council members? Participation in the 4th of July parade?
Absolutely.
Is there any question?
I need to ask. I just need to ask to make sure because we have to fill out our permit and we have to get it in soon. Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to go, but I've been kind of pushing electric vehicles. I'd like to drive a small electric vehicle, just energy efficient and that, other than the bike. But I've been kind of saying we'd like to have maybe golf carts or something like that. I'd like to come up with an idea or just kind of propose a way that there's other ways of transportation.
Well, there's an EV vehicle at Richard Bloomington Honda. I'm not sure if they would loan it for the parade, but they may. We could look at that.
Well, if you get it,
I
I'll
like
ride in it.
Well, I got room for at least one, and the one I got picked already. So.
Okay.
All right. Is everybody EV vehicles, if we can get a couple?
Sure, that'd be great.
That's kind of fun. Different idea. Something different. Pat, you're looking perplexed.
I'm trying to think, you got an open, what do you have, Tom?
Well, it's basically going to be like a sort of a golf cart that I'm going to pick.
I'm not interested in riding a parade route enclosed in some.
No, it's not. This one is
No, I'm just
enclosed.
talking about the EV vehicle.
No, this is open, but we were talking, I've looked at other communities, and they're looking at golf carts or other type of devices that seniors can get on, easy mobility, and with electric, really, you plug them in and they're not costing
With a
anything.
few lessons, maybe we can use our influence to finesse 4 or 5 segways, and we can.
Well, we could do that too.
That
Take a
would be
training
cool.
session.
I mean,
That would be cool. I would love that, yeah.
Well, we'll have to see. We'll come up with staff, give us a little hand on that and see if there's a way to come up, but I guess we're participating one way or the other.
Something different.
Yeah,
I just thought
Okay.
it'd be-
I'm for that.
Yeah, bikes were kind of.
We've done it with how many
Yeah,
years?
okay.
I like the Segway idea too. I think
I like
that's
the
a good
Segway
one.
idea too.
Segway
Yeah.
work. You need training though.
I'm sure I do.
I need to, I have one announcement that came via, I think, email to most of us here. This is regarding a sale that's going on. It's Susan Rosenberg, and she would have been here. She is with the Garden Club. And she says, I cannot make the council meeting tonight. Please announce that the Richfield Garden Club plant sale is Saturday, May 18th from 9 to 3 during the Hats Off to Hometown Hit segment. It'll be held on the grounds of the Richfield Historical Society at 6901 Lindale Avenue South. There's a plant sale flyer, and I think we have that for our website. The flyer also describes that the flowers that'll be designed for the 75th birthday of Richfield's Garden Club. So they're celebrating 75 years this year. So this is really, really nice. So those of you who have supported them in the past, you can go by. And I know a lot of us haven't planted because of the late spring that we've had. So get on over there and buy some new plants to put into the garden. So just wanted to mention that. And also the Richfield garage sale's coming up. The garage sales are coming up this next weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
No, not Sunday, I don't
Sunday.
think.
Look up on the website. We have the list of the garage sale sites, and can you still buy a map at the liquor stores?
Yes.
So we can get those going. So just want to say it. Councilmember Sandal.
This Thursday, May 16th, is Unity in the Community, and that will be at Veterans Memorial Park. Lots of good events. And I think the hours are 5 to 7:30 is what I have written down. Does that sound right? 4:30. Okay, thank you. 4:30 to 7:30. It's a very interesting event, lots of fun, so come out and check it out.
Councilmember Fitzhenry.
Well, I'm going to remind everybody now that we're in the growing season, sharpen them lawnmowers, get the weed whips out, because we want our community to look good. So it's time to mow your grass and make it look great in Richfield. And also look at the website for the garbage can ordinance. It's right around the corner, so you know where to put your garbage cans. So, you can be ahead of the warning that might happen if you put them in the wrong location. So,
Councilmember Garcia.
Well, I'm trying to think. You guys have stolen mine. Let me think.
Yeah, I've got a couple things. I've been contacted by a resident on the west side about garbage cans, and And it's my fault I haven't been able to get back to our bonfire house a couple times. And I recall when we were discussing the ordinances, coming up with alternatives, particularly with the 50-foot lots with the attached garage that didn't leave any side on both sides. Help me, and hopefully the constituent is watching. When you don't have space on the sides to bring them around, where do you put your garbage can? On a 50-foot lot with an attached garage. Todd, can you help me with that? All right. Will you do me a favor? You and I will meet so I can get an answer and I'll get it back to the constituent, because I know particularly on the west side, there's a lot of houses that went up with those lots with a fair amount of restriction on both sides where you can actually access to get it back behind the front of the house.
Madam Mayor, I'd just like to add, what we've done in our neighborhood, we're kind of making a blind, because it says you can't see them from the street, not that they can't be there.
Yeah.
So some of our neighbors are actually coming up with creative ideas to make blinds, whether it be lattice work, you put flowers on, or whatever. I know in the winter that ain't gonna work.
But the problem is, Tom, you don't have enough space to get around to park behind the blinds, because you don't have that much between the lot on both sides of the lot.
We put one on hinges and actually it's kind of neat. We got it on hinges, so it actually, after you get the cans there, it folds. And you could even use stakes or whatever. But the one on hinges worked pretty good, and then we just put a post in the ground.
Well, anyhow, I'll follow up with you, Todd, if you don't mind. The second thing is once again, continuing the anticipation of the second annual Open Streets on the west side. I've been at a couple meetings, and it's starting to come together, and it's exciting to see the maps are out, and we've got the activities and everything are pretty well charted out. And I think it's pretty exciting that one of the members of Richfield Visions came up with the idea to fill a couple of the blocks that were a little bit slow last year with a flea market, and they're out soliciting flea marketeers. And I think it's going to generate 80 to 100 vendors in a fairly short space with booths about 10 by 20, and I think it's going to add excitement and keep that traffic flowing the entire length of the open streets, which we kind of had some dead spaces last year, so I think it's going to really be exciting. And I'd ask anybody that wants to participate or volunteer or assist can contact Dave Gepner, Tom Rubline, myself, or go on the webpage and you'll find access to other people that can get you involved in planning and participating in the open streets on September 15th, 2013. Thank you.
That sounds great. Okay.
No, I wanted to say that I've noticed people are walking again. And what's really nice about it is that they've got their plastic bag and they're picking up the trash that's on the curb. And, and they're visiting with folks, and it just kind of feels good to make sure, that they care enough and invest in our community to pick up the trash. The other thing is that I've gotten calls from a couple of folks that have problems with, some debris that needs to be picked up, or something that's accumulated during the winter and that folks need to clean up. Please let us know, and we'll make sure that that's taken care of.
Also, the farmers market started this late springtime. So please go out to the Saturday morning farmers market. A lot of vendors are out there. We have fruits and vegetables, and all kinds of plants are out there. We've got the meat people, we've got honey, we've got all kinds of small vendors that are coming. The fresh vegetables out of the gardens are not going to be there for a while, but there's a lot of other vendors out there for you to participate in. Get up on the website and look and choose. It's really wonderful. I'm not sure how many of our food vendors are back, but I know we had some food vendors coming as well. And it's a wonderful place to meet and greet with your neighbors. So I'm usually down there most Saturdays. It's a really good time.
It's a great place to have coffee.
Yeah, it is. Visit. Okay. Any other things? No. I'd ask council's approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The agenda is approved. We have the consent calendar, city manager, and it's a long one.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. It is indeed a very long one. The consent calendar for folks in the audience, both at home and here in person, contains several items which are acted upon by the City Council in one motion. Once the consent calendar has been approved, the individual items and their recommended actions will also have been approved, and no further council action on those items will be necessary. Tonight, as we just said, there are several items on the consent calendar, beginning with item A, which is Consideration of approval of the first reading of an ordinance relating to the private use of boulevards and unopened rights-of-way, amending Section 811 of the Richfield City Code and scheduling the second reading for May 28, 2013. Item B is consideration of approval of a resolution authorizing the City Council to affirm the monetary limits on municipal tort liability as established by Minnesota Statutes 46604. Item C is consideration of approval of a resolution modifying the healthcare savings plan for eligible LELS Local 123 employees, and that would include our police patrol and detective employees. Item D is consideration of approval of a resolution authorizing the Public Safety Department, Police Division, to accept a $100 donation from Alaris Mortgage, given in the name of a city resident. Item E is consideration of approval of a resolution accepting a donation of $50 to the Police Safety Vest Fund from City Nails. Item F is consideration of approval of the renewal of the 2013-2014 auction service contract between the City of Richfield and Odessa, Minneapolis, and that's for auctioning forfeited vehicles from the Public Safety Police Division. Item G is consideration of approval of a resolution accepting a $5,782.65 grant received by the Richfield Farmers Market and authorizing the Recreation Services staff to administer the funds in accordance with the grant agreements and terms prescribed by donors to operate the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or referred to as SNAP. Item H is consideration of approval of a resolution authorizing the Source Water Protection Plan Implementation Grant Agreement between the City of Richfield and the Minnesota Department of Health. Item I is consideration of approval of a resolution authorizing an agreement for the purchase of 6245 Bloomington Avenue and 6300 16th Avenue for the Taft Park Richfield Parkway Connection Project. Item J is consideration of approval of the purchase of a truck chassis from Asselford International Trucks in the amount of $92,020 and a box boom from Aspen Equipment for use by the Forestry Division for $79,964 for a grand total of $171,984 plus taxes and licensing fees. Item K is consideration of approval of the bid minutes, tabulation, and award of contract for the 2013 sidewalk, curb, and gutter concrete repair to Ron Casa Construction Incorporated in the sum of $86,095, and to further authorize the Public Works Director to approve additional contract work provided it does not exceed $50,000. And finally, item L, consideration of approval of the bid minutes, tabulation, and award of contract for the 2013 seal coating work to Pearson Brothers Incorporated in the sum of $447,035.95. And that would conclude tonight's consent calendar.
I'll move the calendar.
Second. And may I ask one question? Just wondering where we stand in terms of signed purchase agreements for the homes that we're trying to buy along Richfield Parkway. Are we done, or are we still got a few more to go?
Council member, members of the council, I'm going to refer to Mike Eastling.
Mayor, members of council, several properties that are involved in the bank, and we have to get the approval from the bank in order to get the purchase taken care of it. And we will likely have to head into some sort of eminent domain proceedings because of that in order to make sure that the project moves along and we get response from the banks in an orderly fashion. In addition, there's one other property. The Hurleys have not yet signed, and so we are, if they do not sign in the next short order, we may have to begin a process similar to that with that property also.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I would just say that I saw it coming. I'm a little bit uncomfortable with it. I mean, we're down the road and this far. It was a concern I had when we were originally addressing that. There's nothing that can be done now. And I'm wondering, Mike, do you believe that initiating eminent domain is going to have any impact on the banks one way or the other?
Mayor, members of the council, that's the way you can get, you kind of get a response, a forced response from them in response to the proceedings.
If I was the bank and eminent domain's going to pay me more money than I'm going to get on that purchase agreement, so why won't I just wait it out?
Well, I guess I'd have to leave that to the attorneys that are in. That are
Yeah, I mean, I just see it's turning into the exact quagmire that I thought it could turn into. And it's nobody's fault. I think, you know, particularly when we're dealing with the banks and they having final approval, it was a little bit uncomfortable in the first place. I'm somewhat disappointed with the homeowners also, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm just, do we have any timeline? Do we have any idea when, you know, you said that in order to get this project moving forward, we have to get something going. Can we even anticipate what kind of a timeline we can implement?
We're on a timeline now that would allow us to go to bids on that yet this year in order to get for that portion of the project on Richfield Parkway. So.
Okay. You'll keep us posted, obviously. Yes. Yeah, thank you.
Any other comments? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Councilmember Garcia, you have the next item.
Okay, this is a public hearing. It's to consider a request for a conditional use permit and variances to allow construction of a new restaurant with drive-through service, Taco Bell, at 140 78th Street East. Border Foods has applied for a conditional use permit and variances to allow construction for this new Taco Bell restaurant. And this is the former Burger King location site along I-494. This site is zoned mixed-use community, which conditionally permits restaurants with drive-up services. The applicant has attempted to meet or improve the site in regards to all required standards, but has applied for variances in instances where these requirements cannot be met. In 2005, the city adopted an I-494 corridor master plan, which has since been incorporated into the city's comprehensive plan. These plans stress a mix of uses, which include walkability, cohesive design, and active uses. The subject site is significantly constrained by its size, location, and limited visibility. The applicant has proposed a plan that includes a new building, significantly improved landscaping, improved parking, and enhanced walkability. It is the opinion of staff and the Planning Commission that the proposal meets the intent of the comprehensive plan. Menard submitted 2 letters, and they spoke in opposition. And then we also have someone representing Border Foods here too. So if they would like to come up and address the council.
Opening the public hearing?
Yes.
Please.
Thank you.
State your name and address.
Madam Mayor, my name is Barbara Schneider. I work for Border Foods. My home address is 1743 Skater Drive in Eagan, Minnesota. We used to be, Taco Bell used to be in Richfield, but we outgrew our poor little facility at 66 and Penn. So we are here this evening to respectfully ask your approval of the quality project that we think we've brought to the city of Richfield. We've worked with staff. We have brought the site closer in compliance to what it is today. And we respectfully ask your approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I wanted to ask you, are you satisfied with the signage that you will have, that it will let people know that you're there and that it's going to be visible?
Madam Mayor, council members, we always apply for the maximum signage that we can obtain by code. There is some limited site visibility as you're traveling on 494, but we've taken those factors into consideration, and it's acceptable to us.
Okay.
If there's ever an opportunity for more, we'd certainly appreciate that.
Okay, no, because it's important if you're going to build there, you want to ensure success.
Yes, ma'am.
Visibility is very, very crucial.
Very, very important, Mayor and council members, yes.
This is a public hearing. Would other people like to come forward? Please state your name and address for the record.
I'm Tyler Edwards. I'm a real estate representative with Menards. I think I'm a familiar face to both of you, except for Ms. Garcia, who I tried to contact earlier today. Normally, we don't get involved in other people's projects, but we felt this one was kind of important, being so close to ours. When Menards first came to develop or redevelop our property, you know, the city kept hitting home on a few points for us. You know, we want this intersection of Nicollet and 77th to look like the Lindale and 77th, to look like, you know, the new Home Depot and the Target, and the new LA Fitness. I think that's Lindale and 60th Street up there. So that was kind of our whole discussion all along with, you know, block or brick or awnings and all this upgrades. I'm not going to compare this directly to the Menards project because I don't think that's exactly fair. Menards has had success with our new store here, and we don't oppose the Taco Bell building there. We just oppose the aesthetics the way they're proposed. Right now, you know, you're getting kind of the standard basic model, the tilt-up panels or the EFIS, as they're called. You know, it's kind of like stucco concrete. It doesn't exactly match what the rest of the neighborhood looks like. If you look at the plan compared to our Menards store or the Mexican restaurant next door, I don't see a lot of cohesiveness there, and that's what we're trying to ask that the council goes back, relooks at the plans, look at it in the context of the neighborhood, and kind of revisit what it looks like in the long run.
Well, you know, we did receive your 2 letters and we read them, and we also noted, you know, the minutes from the Planning Commission. And I think this is a tough situation because, you know, we have to, you know, we have to meet code and ordinance and zoning and the whole works, and we can't deny, you know, a business based on that. I think that from the information that Taco Bell has submitted, I think they have met the standards that our city staff requires of them and that the ordinance and zoning asks for. And we really, you know, I think we want to make sure that this business, being that it will be there, you know, hopefully that we will all be good neighbors and things will work out for all of us.
We agree. I think development's great, and I think the Taco Bell would be a good neighbor. I think the list that you guys have in front of you of the variances or changes to code or amendments that is brought on by a small site with a redevelopment. I do know that of one company at least that had a small site and redeveloped that did a whole bunch of upgrades, and along with those variances as kind of a trade-off for those variances. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know if Mr. Stark wants to add to it this.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor and Councilmember Garcia. A couple of things to keep in mind. One is that the site plan and the designs that you're looking at and that Mr. Edwards is looking at were not what was initially provided to us by Taco Bell, by Border Foods. You know, it was the result of a lot of discussions with Border Foods, a lot of negotiations, a lot of work on our part and their part to get to the best possible plan and design and materials and those types of things that was feasible on this site. So there has been a lot of work that's gone into this. Secondly, you know, what we're talking about here is variances from the code, and historically, the way variances were looked at, it had to meet 3 criteria. One is that there had to be a hardship on the property that was unique to that property. In this case, especially when you compare it to other sites in the area, that hardship is the small size of the property and that it can't be adjoined with any other properties. It's a very, very constrained site. The second test historically was that that hardship was not of the property owner's doing, which is the case here, And third, that the applicant was seeking kind of the minimum deviation possible. Since over time, the legislature has actually changed variances to make them easier for the city council to grant, but we looked at the old, more stringent guidelines and did feel that Taco Bell met those. So,
May I ask, Your Honor? Could you share with us what were the changes that were made at the request of staff?
It was, I don't know that I could tick down a laundry list. It was related to the materials. There are many developments all over the country that are made with EFIS. It is a standard construction material in retail and commercial development. And, we felt that EFIS met the zoning code standards of high quality materials. We worked with them extensively on the layout of the site. It was difficult to find a way to make the drive-through work properly and still allow drive lanes and those kinds of things. So it was a several month process going through iterations back and forth with them.
Well, the public hearing is still open. Are there others who would like to come forward to speak?
Madam Mayor, council members, my name is Doug Olson. I live at 6608 Clinton Avenue South in Richfield. I'm here to support the proposal by Border Foods and the Nelson family to be able to make some beneficial use out of the property that's there. I think it was clear from the application by Menards before that the Nelsons tried to work out an agreement where they could exchange the property. That didn't happen. And I think in this particular case, they're doing the best they possibly can to be able to utilize the property. There's no other alternative, there's no other alternative that I can see that would enable them to get the value out of their property. They like to see it used as a restaurant. I think it still would be a Burger King if the prior franchisee, Dolphin Foods, was willing, but I think there were visibility issues that impacted the Dolphins when they were using it. They had concerns, and I think the Border Foods folks representing Taco Bell are comfortable with the arrangement that's there. I think that we're not seeing a situation in which they're just moving into an existing building. They are making improvements, and I think it's a positive sign for the council to go ahead and approve the conditional use permit and the variances. I have looked at the file, and it seems to make sense. So I encourage you to support it. I don't have any financial interest with the Nelsons or with Border Foods. I like Taco Bell food, and
Okay.
it would be nice to have it back in Richfield again. And I think we have to recognize that a lot of the restaurants are in the Bloomington side, and there are a lot of motels in the area that would benefit and use it, as well as residents of Richfield and Bloomington. Thank you.
Thanks.
Don't forget to sign in, Mr. Olson.
This is a public hearing. Would anyone else like to come forward to speak? Please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am here, and I am Mary Ames, and I believe in Edina, 6423 Colony Way, 3B, and I am here for. I am an advertising representative of a beautiful, wonderful concert building in St. Richard's Catholic Church. And it is there. We just started it. Actually, you're wondering why I'm here with the Edina. Well, it's because of the South Metro. So I'm okay, see? I'm not bad. So anyway, what the things that I would wanted to, because I'm advertising things and for it, I was hoping and giving you invitation to the building of the St. Richard Catholic Church is 76th Street and Penn Avenue South. And now I thought, as the advertising person, I should invite you all with your South Metro. And I am now looking for mayors. You're number 2, excuse me.
Thank you.
I was it over last Tuesday to Jim Houseland in Edina, which I know, of course. And now I can get to my Debbie.
Okay, thank you.
And I will have Jim Winstead in Bloomington.
Okay.
And it will be the 30th.
Do you have anything to address with the Taco Bell and the Menards? I mean, that's what the public hearing is for. It's in regards to the Taco Bell and the public hearing.
I'm not quite understanding.
Yeah, it's appropriate that you would come to seek us, but this is probably not the right part in the agenda to talk to us about this. It belongs in the forum front of it. It's very nice of you to invite us and everything. The discussion is centering around there, and I'd love to talk to you right after the meeting then.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Thank you.
That's fine.
That's very nice.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I'll move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Is there anyone else? All those in favor signify by aye.
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 Opposed? The public hearing is closed.
Well,
Go ahead. I was going to just make a couple comments.
Please, Councilmember.
yeah, go ahead. We vote.
I'm going to, go ahead and move the.
Okay. Well, I move that we approve the conditional use permit and variances for the restaurant with the drive-through services at 140 78th Street East for Taco Bell, owned by Border Foods.
I'll second. Discussion.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to welcome anybody that's had a business in Richfield and likes us enough to come back and reinitiate and want to stay in the community. I endorse that 100%, and I appreciate it that you looked and found a place to come back. With that being said, a couple comments. There are those, Mr. Stark, that say EFS is a horrible product in this environment. I'm not offering an opinion one way or the other, but I've seen a lot of places where EFS has caused a lot of problems. So it's not universally recognized as a good product in this particular environment. Secondly, in looking at the variances, there's a lot of interpretations, and it even goes to the point where the interpretation is going to require, as is suggested, that we're going to amend the ordinance that's being interpreted sometime in the future to meet staff's interpretation as opposed to meet what the variance is. If you look under, and this is the staff's interpretation, that this regulation is intended to permit standalone drive-up facilities if the above listed criteria can be met. And it goes on to say that if the first sentence is meant to completely prohibit standalone buildings with drive-up service, that's the interpretation. Then it goes on to say an ordinance amendment to clarify this regulation will come before the council this summer. From my perspective, that's kind of a tortured interpretation, trying to fit it so it meets the variance. I'm not being critical because I think it gets done what has to get done. But when you read this, it seems somewhat labored in trying to make the variances fit. Okay. And a couple others, and then you can rebut, okay? And I've got some concerns about when we talk about the parking and what our requirements are and what corporate requirements are, that corporate requirements prevail. And the indication is that the corporation knows its business, and by knowing its business and the traffic flow and everything, they're better situated to establish parking needs and parking requirements. We have historically had horrible problems when we allow someone else to interpret what parking needs are. I'm going to vote for this, but all I'm suggesting is that the way the variances are being articulated and met is, from my perspective, a little bit tortured. And once again, that's my perspective and my perception, which we all know is personal to me and no one else. But I just, when I'm reading these, I'm thinking you really seem to be moving the goalposts a little bit to make it fit.
Staff.
Councilmember Elliott, I have no intention of rebutting you. I'm going to agree with you that it is labored. And the reason for that is because it's confusing. I'm going to read what the zoning code says. It says two separate things. And this is under areas of note on the second page of the staff report. The zoning code states the following. 1, drive-up facilities must be part of a multi-tenant mixed-use development. So that's statement 1. Statement 2 is freestanding buildings shall not have drive-up facilities unless they're designed to maximize impacts to the pedestrian, blah, blah, blah.
Minimize.
So it's one or the other.
Minimize.
It's either a drive-up facility must be part of a multi-tenant building without any qualifiers. That's a standalone statement. Or freestanding buildings could have drive-up facilities under certain circumstances. So there are kind of two statements that don't agree with each other, and we think that regardless of what happens with Taco Bell, that needs to be fixed. And so we will be coming back to fix that, or to ask you to fix it. Secondly, with the parking, I would agree that in mixed-use situations, we have had mixed track record on figuring out parking needs, because the issue with mixed use is trying to figure out the sharing. You know, if you've got a multi-tenant building and one use is predominantly used in the morning and another use is predominantly used in the afternoon, there's more art that goes into that than science of trying to figure out how that mix will occur. For single-use developments, I do think that we've had good results. Menards is one example. I believe that the Menards corporate parking requirements or desires were different than what our code would have dictated. And we have made concessions in the past to, kind of national chains that have this kind of experience. But that is completely at the council's discretion. We're just providing you what our insight is.
Well, two things. My recollection was Menard's corporate mandate was larger than ours, which is significantly different. And secondly, and I can go through this, but I don't have my glasses on. I can't read that well right now. But my recollection is somewhere in it talks about the representation that a large portion of the clientele is going to be using the drive-through as opposed to parking and sitting. If that's the case, is a corporate mandate 61 seats? Because then let me take that back, because I remember having a discussion with you. It's not the number of seats; it's the square footage, correct? That mandates the parking slots.
For our code, that's correct. For their, when they make their determination, I believe it's on number of seats.
Okay, and our requirement is based on square footage.
Correct.
Okay, and so what we called for was 43?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, and I'm just saying that a corporate, in the business model, and the corporation certainly knows its clientele better than we would, but it's kind of a slippery slope if we start using that as a criteria on how we're going to establish the parking. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I just like to say that obviously there's a market for Taco Bell. That's why they're building, and we wish them success.
Yeah. I'm sure there is. They do their market studies usually before they do these things. Other comments from the council? Any questions?
Just one. I noticed in the staff report, they're talking about the usable outdoor open space, and staff and the applicant are continuing to discuss amenities on the north side, including a possible picnic table, bench, or other items that would be make it a benefit to both employees and visiting customers. So I encourage you to continue doing that, because I think that both are good ideas.
Mm-hmm. Councilmember?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I am glad something is going in there. Not to say anything bad about Burger King, but that building has been there ever since I remember, as is. And I think anything we do to improve it is going to be great. From my experience of seeing what goes on there, I think we're going to see a lot of drive-through traffic. So the only encouragement I would give Taco Bell is make sure you're speedy at your drive-up window so we don't have that traffic in the street. you know, I don't know if you're going to do dual lanes or whatever, but that's my only concern is that during rush hour, or you want to call it lunch hour, that you may have a number of people that show up and we may have an issue with traffic. So if they can make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Mayor, I just renew my motion.
Okay, it's been seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Welcome to Richfield.
Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back.
Yes. Councilmember Fitzhenry, you have the next item.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The item for consideration is approval of amendment to a consent decree in the state of Minnesota by the City of Minneapolis, ETL, versus Metropolitan Airports Commission, ETL, Hennepin County case number 27 CV 055474. In 2005, the cities of Minneapolis, Richfield, and Eagan, and Minneapolis Public Housing Authority sued the Metropolitan Airports Commission, known as MAC, for violations of Minnesota Environmental Rights Act related to the alleged inadequacies in MAC noise mitigation program. The parties settled to the litigation in 2007 by entering into a consent decree that required the MAC to provide noise mitigation according to the consent decree. The MAC intends to undertake improvements as identified in the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport 2020 Improvements Project. The 2020 project, we call it as required by federal and state law, the MAC has prepared an environmental assessment, known as an EA, and the environmental assessment worksheet, known as the EAW, for the 2020 project. The EA is prepared under the Federal Environmental Reviews Law, and the FAA is the responsible agency. The EAW is prepared under state environmental review laws, and the MAC is the responsible agency. If no further environmental review is required, the FAA would issue a finding of no significant impact record or decision, and we use the acronym as a FONSI-ROD. You'll hear this a lot. Under state law, the equivalent document is called a negative declaration. It is anticipated that the 2020 project could result in changes in noise contours for Minneapolis-St. Paul operations, and the environmental impacts of those changes are proposed to be addressed through noise mitigation programs. The parties to the consent decree, which is MAC, Richfield, Eagan, Minneapolis, and the Minneapolis Public Housing Authority, would like the consent decree to govern future noise mitigation. However, the FAA has adopted a program guidance letter, known as a PGL, that imposes limits on the use of airport revenues for noise mitigation. Under the PGL, a dwelling is not eligible for noise mitigation unless it's within a contour that has an exterior measurement above 60 dNL and the interior noise level is above 45 dNL. The existing consent decree does not include the interior level requirement. That's kind of the big concern here. If the FAA conditions its approval of the FONSI-ROD upon noise mitigation being provided in the compliance with the PGL, it is expected that fewer homes would qualify for noise mitigation than currently qualify under the current consent decree. The MAC, Richfield, Eagan, Minneapolis, and the Minneapolis Public Housing Authority have negotiated an amendment to the consent decree that addresses future noise mitigation that will result from the implementation of the 2020 project. The proposed amendment would continue noise mitigation based on the standards under the consent decree. It would not require interior level measurements. The amendment requires FAA approval, but MAC officials have taken the position with the FAA that further restriction of the noise mitigation program would interfere with the parties' negotiated settlement and undermine the cooperative relationship that the local communities have worked to achieve. The proposed amendment reflects the combination efforts of the parties to preserve the noise mitigation standards of the original consent decree in a manner that the FAA will accept as a condition of its approval of the Fonzie rod. The biggest key, and I'll put it is that Richfield wants to make sure that we can continue to secure benefits for the most residents we can in Richfield, and that's why we're agreeing to this. This was brought to us probably 2 months ago in the NOC, and everybody kind of agreed to it. So I will go ahead and move, and then we can discuss it. Okay. But I, by motion, approve that we approve the proposed amendment to the consent decree.
Second.
And does staff have anything that they'd like to add? Pam, I know you work on this a lot.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. I think Member Fitzhenry summarized it well. We worked with the parties to the consent decree on the amendments that are before you. I can report that the City of Eagan and City of Minneapolis have both approved these amendments that are before you tonight. And again, the whole purpose obviously is to be able to continue to provide noise mitigation to qualifying eligible residents into the future. The comments made by the FAA and during this Fonzie rod, or within the Fonzie rod, indicated some concerns we had in the future as to whether or not that would be the case. So this amendment should address that issue, and we believe there will be good faith of all the parties to move it forward.
Nice. That's nice work. Nice work. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor signify by aye.
Did we actually move it? Yeah. Did we actually move and second it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Who seconded?
Yeah.
It's late and I'm tired.
We'll call the vote again. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Councilmember Sandal, you have the next item.
I have the very last item, and well, close to the last. This is a consideration of an appointment to a city advisory commission, and the council met with the applicant prior to the study session that was held at 6 o'clock. And at this time, I would like to recommend Tiffany Egan to the Advisory Board of Health for a term expiring January 31st, 2015.
A second. All those, any conversation? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And then just a comment, I always like to remind people, we still have one opening on the Advisory Board of Health, if anyone has an interest in applying. And we have a number of openings on both Arts Commission and Friendship City Commission. It's a great way to learn more about your community, to meet some new neighbors, get involved in what's happening in Richfield. So if you have any interest at all, you can go on the city website and check out under city commissions. And as soon as we get your applications, we'll be happy to do the interviews.
Great.
And if I may make a somewhat scatological comment about Eden Prairie, an ex-Eden Prairie resident have once again found nirvana in Richfield.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yes, that's right. That's good.
He's referring to our new appointee to the Advisory Board of Health.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
City Manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. I don't have much of a report, but I do want to say that along with some of the other things that we've been working on, I know council had asked us to take a look at our staff reports and perhaps model them differently so that in the future we would have, while the council would be presenting the staff reports, they'd be reading more of a brief executive summary, and staff could put additions onto that. That's what you would ask me to take a look at. I would ask you to, I put a couple of staff reports in this agenda that I would see as looking to the future as how I would put staff reports together. Item 7B, or staff report 79, is written in that format, as well as 7G, staff report 84. So take a look at those two. That's how it'll be either the first or second meeting in June that all of our staff reports will look like that. The staff report changes in that, again, the council would be reading the executive summary portion. Under basis of recommendation, all of the background, the timing, the financial aspects, legal, alternate recommendations, et cetera, would all be backup data that I would not expect the city council to read out loud. And unless, of course, you want to highlight some portions of that, or if you want to ask the staff to present any backup data on it. So I believe that's what the council had asked for. If it's not, take a look at those 2 staff reports and let me know.
Okay.
You know, I appreciate that because that doesn't, you know, we can always do whatever, you know, if we wanted more information, to give more information or whatever. The other thing I wanted to say is that, you know, oftentimes we read these reports and a lot of people think that, you know, that staff is the one that recommends them, and they do. But staff are people that are hired by the city manager or the director, and they're people that come with the background, education, and the experience so that they can give us their expertise, because we don't have that to operate on. And it's like we don't see this information the first time. You know, we work behind the scenes or at study sessions or what have you, so that, you know, there's always a dialogue and questions by the council to the staff. So just to, you know, we're really a team, and I think we rely on our constituents and our staff and the council, and just to let folks know that, so that they know that, you know, we're not, you know, that we're doing our part.
Absolutely. Yeah, again, I think the new staff report format gives you all the discretion as to if you want to stop at the executive summary. That's fine. I think I'm going to, and it'll be a trial and error. I'm hoping we'll get better at it as we go. I don't want to load a lot of extra information into the executive summary that people really don't need to hear. But I want people to make sure that they have a clear understanding of what the item is in front of the city council and why we're making the recommendation.
No, one more thing. I see that you've got someone sitting next to you that is new to the dais, our new attorney.
Yes, Mary Teachin. I don't know if this is your first or second. I'm not sure.
I guess.
Good.
Oh, there. Oh,
I'm very happy to be here. Yes.
Welcome.
Yes.
thanks for pointing that out. I should have had Mary introduce herself, so that folks at home will know when she's speaking who she is.
I'm sure she'll get some opportunities.
I'm sure she will.
Okay. See no other business, claims and payroll?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Seeing no other business, I'll call this meeting adjourned. Thank you for coming tonight.